sidekick with us because she's very clingy tonight. And for those Jesus people, you might get a little repeat tonight from the message. But we wanted to just share 3 practical things from our story. So first thing is something that Anthony kind of touched on, which is lowering the stakes when you're dating. The thing is, dating can feel so high stakes when you're a Christian because it's all about finding that one and finding your spouse. And when you make marriage the goal of dating, it just feels so intense. And I think it's so important to lower the stakes because if you feel high stakes about dating, you're likely not to bring your most authentic self forward. You're probably going to be bringing your most triggered self forward.
Yes.
Because, and you're not going to be able to think clearly, and you're not going to be able to make decisions clearly. And so lowering the stakes is important. We were pretty young when we got together. I was 23, 22, 23, something like that. But I remember feeling so high stakes about it, and so did he for different reasons. But John really lowered the stakes so well for us. But for me, similar to Lori, I had just come from a long past, although my past wasn't like a beautiful marriage. It was a lot of really broken relationships and a lot of trauma. And so I came from this experience where it felt like super high stakes to get back into another relationship, to risk loving again, to risk trusting my heart with someone again, to put myself out there. And I just was like, I don't want to do this again if it's not going to be the one. And that was really high stakes pressure thinking.
Yeah, and for me, it was very, very high stakes because although I've had a past where I've talked to girls and I'm like, oh, you seem really interesting and I like you, and they liked me back. I didn't pursue because I was really dead set on, okay, the person that's going to be my girlfriend, she's going to be my wife. And so that felt really, really high stakes. But, when Tori and I first started getting to know each other, it was a lot of just friendship and connection. And actually, you want me to share the testimony, just of like how that started, or God?
Mainly the part where you like lowered the stakes and made it feel
okay,
not so high stakes.
So
I don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
Short story, and then the meat. Short story is the Lord had to actually talk to me about like, hey, you're spending a lot of time with Tori, like, I think you should really like understand and connect with yourself about like what this is, right? And so when that happened, I felt like, okay, I need a DTR with her. Like, we need to talk about and define what's going on.
Define the relationship, yeah.
Yeah, we needed to define what was going on here. So when I sat her down, my honest, genuine heart was that the more I got to know her, the more beautiful she became to me. And I just wanted to keep getting to know her. And so that's...
actually said that out loud to me on the date. And it was the perfect phrase to like lower the stakes in my heart, to just say, oh, wish this is just getting to know each other, and like I'm not going to feel like pressured into anything or forced into anything, or I don't have to make decisions right away. Like, we can just take our time.
We can just get to know each other.
We did, and then it went super fast because we took all the pressure off.
Yeah, we took all the pressure off, and there was nothing pressuring us back or forward, and everything just slipped into place.
Anyways, I just wanted to propose a new goal and mindset you can bring going into dating. Instead of I'm dating to find my spouse, it's I'm dating to learn more about myself. And I'm dating to learn more about how to give love. And I think if you look back at any relationship you've been in, you can learn so much about yourself. You can learn what you like, what you don't like. You can learn what triggers you. You can learn how you feel loved. You can learn how you like to give love. You can learn so many things. And so if you change the mentality of dating to just learning about yourself, and then also just learning how to love better, because as you go throughout dating, you'll learn probably the ways that you don't love very well and the ways that you need to learn how to love better. And so, changing the mindset. I can't do that right now, baby girl. How about you have some chocolate?
You want chocolate?
Instead.
You don't usually get that.
Yeah, special treat. Okay. So the next point was to risk rejection.
Can we get the slides up?
I don't remember what I wrote.
Yeah.
Rejection. Okay.
Yep.
Rejection is a part of life. Avoiding it robs you of opportunities to experience love and fulfillment. And I loved all the testimonies that were shared tonight because there was so much of fighting and putting yourself out there and risking rejection to be able to experience that fulfillment. And imagine if none of those people had pushed through to really fight for those things, and they would have missed out on the greatest love of their life. I know John and I, we shared a bit of our story, but we had to both put ourselves out there in some ways, just from both of our past and what we had walked through, and just risk loving again. And so, did you want to add on this?
Yeah, when Tori and I were talking about it, I think, for me, the idea of rejection or abandonment is an almost, I think what's the term, intolerable emotion. Mm-hmm. And it's something really, really hard to sit with. But when we can kind of take it from step one, lowering the stakes, right? Rejection doesn't have to be too big or scary, right? If you've ever applied to a job, if you've ever applied to college, right? If you've ever, there's so many things where it happens in everyday life. So it doesn't need to be this big statement about who you are, right? I have a funny short story, right? Just about kind of rejection. And the idea is rejection isn't a value statement about you. It just says it might just not be a good fit, right? And so when I was at Bethel, right, I think it was my third year, I was cooking dinner for a bunch of friends, and one of my friends comes up to me, right, and goes, "Oh my gosh, John, why don't we date?" And I was just like, not the mindset I was in, right? Mind you, this girl was funny, she was attractive, right? Clearly loved the Lord, she was in school with us. And my first question was, "Do you like rice?"
Hey, y'all, Filipinos, this is very important question. This is a value. This is a conviction. It's a conviction.
Right.
Straight conviction.
Yeah. So, she paused for 5 seconds and thought about it, and she was like, "No, but I can cook it." And instantly, my life flashed before my eyes. And I just saw okay, that's going to be 5 years from now. I'm married to this girl. I'm like, "Hey, babe, let's go to eat at this new Japanese restaurant that just opened up." And I just see her face go, right? And then the next scene, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, babe, this tastes so good. Here, try it." Yeah. And I'm like, do I really want this for my future?
Amen.
Right? It was again, attractive, fun, there's good connection and chemistry, but we're not headed in the same direction. Right? And so it wasn't a rejection on this person's value statement, right? Still care about this friend, right? They're amazing, but it just wasn't a good fit. Now, Tori, her so
my grandmother's
Warren, get back on keys. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
Grandmother's Chinese, so we grew up eating rice all the time.
So, that being said, right, it's not a value statement. It's not, "You're less than me, we can't." No, it was just, I don't think we're the right fit, right?
I had a really good story. I ended up sharing this at Jesus People, so it's a familiar story for all of you guys, but I felt like it was a great picture on handling rejection, and it was my 4-year-old daughter. She has a friend who's a 6-year-old boy, and they're really good friends, and it's not anything, romantic or anything. Sometimes we wonder, but they just really love each other's company and presence. And so we were at their house, and this boy had a friend come to pick him up for a birthday party. And usually when they say goodbye, Alea and this friend give each other a hug, and they're so sweet and affectionate. But this time, because the 6-year-old had a friend there, he just walked out the door and kind of made a face when Alea asked for a hug goodbye. And he just kind of went, "Oh, thank you. You want to share chocolate? Thank you." It's all yours, girl. Okay. So she just he made this face and he walked up there. Oh, okay, we're eating it now. All right, thank you. So so she just made this he made this face and she just like you could just see it on her face. She just cried and felt so sad. And then she goes, "That hurt my heart." I was like the first time you have to walk your child through rejection, I was not prepared to do it at 4. And I'm like, okay. So here's what I did. I'm like, I'm just going to hold her. So I just held her. I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel good when that happens. Like, I'm so sorry that he didn't give you a hug like usual. Like, you are so loved, and it's okay. And we just kind of sat with it for a while. And I didn't try to fix it. I didn't try to make it go away. I didn't try to tell her, well, there's nothing wrong with you and everything's great about you and he's a jerk and all that.
Yes.
You know, I know. There was a little, the mama bear protective part was like, never do that again to my child.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to go like, do that. And then I wasn't going to say, well, I wasn't going to go make excuses for him either. Oh, well, it was because of this and because of that. Like, I just let her like sit with the feeling and say, but you're gonna be okay and you're still worthy of love. And I'm like, this is the kind of perspective that we need to have going into rejection.
Yes.
And I actually told, you need to have a rejection plan. When you feel rejected, what do? How do you speak to yourself? How do you respond? Do you go and victimize yourself and navel gaze and like, what's wrong with me? Like Donnie was saying, what did I do wrong? Like, what can I do better? What can I do differently to never get rejected again? Or do we just try to like explain it away? Well, maybe they didn't mean it, or maybe whatever. And we can forgive and have grace and forgiveness when rejection comes. And I helped my daughter walk through. Can we forgive this person for what happened? Because I'm sure he had his reasons if we heard his side. But no matter what, we always want to walk in forgiveness. And so, but I think also some of the things that come up with rejection with other people is a lot of our own self-rejection and the ways that we reject ourselves. And these are just all invitations to come to the Lord and work out whatever it is that we feel is so unlovable inside of us. And so hence the first point about relationships being about growing and learning is it's the same when we face rejection, right? Rejection's going to come, but rejection is opportunity to grow and learn more about ourselves. So make a plan, a rejection plan. Last quick note on rejection is practice being rejected. I heard this in a podcast about people going out and getting rejected intentionally once a day just to practice. Like it's almost in psychology they call it distress tolerance. So let's just increase our ability to handle this feeling and tolerate this feeling and know that we're okay no matter what someone else thinks about us. And so I would encourage you to put yourself out there and practice rejection. I was coaching somebody recently who is single and wanting to go out there dating, and so we actually visualized her going up to this guy that she thought was cute in a coffee shop and putting herself out there and how that would go well and just visualizing it going well. And then we talked about, well, what happens if it doesn't go well? And she's like, I'll go in the bathroom and I'll give myself a pep talk in the mirror and it's so healthy to just respond to your rejection moments with love and compassion instead of beating yourself up. And so, yes, practice getting rejected. Another thing, you can practice just learning to have conversation with the opposite sex and get comfortable having conversation with the opposite sex by just going out and making a friend. And it can I heard this, don't pick the hottest person in the room. Lower the stakes. Pick someone that you're not even attracted to and then practice with them. Or
just get to know them.
Pick an 80-year-old person and practice with them. At least it's the opposite sex, but you can get comfortable talking with somebody.
If no one ever talks to you, you're the hottest person in the room.
There you go. Oh. People are too intimidated. Well, there you go. That's a new way to look at yourself. All right. So our last thing is what is their last thing? Believe you're worth it.
Yeah.
Believing you're worth it will change the way you show up in life. When you, like Anthony mentioned it, if you are healthy, you are going to attract healthy. If you believe you are worthy of love, you're also going to attract someone who believes they're worthy of love. And that's going to be a good match, because then you're always going to fight for love and fight for connection and not be looking to the other person to meet some unmet need in your life. And so I would take every opportunity while you are like single and or dating to just like work on the beliefs inside of your hearts about worthiness and being worthy of love. You had something you wanted to share on this?
Yeah. Well, but. Okay. So, before the giant butt came flying in, going back to like when things are high stakes, you feel really triggered, right? And you're not acting yourself. Oftentimes when we don't love ourselves, right, you're not acting yourself. You're not being authentic. And when you can't be authentic or know yourself, you can't bring yourself to the relationship, right? And sometimes you can already be married and be figuring that out. Hello. Right? There's things that when we begin to open ourselves up completely to love, right, parts of us show up, and that part of us might be the very part that's needed to take your friendships, your relationships, your career to the next level. So I think in some ways, like, yes, we're talking about dating, but there's also this invitation to kind of date yourself. Right? Like we want to be dating the Lord, the lover of our soul, and we want to find that person, right, that he's meant for us, but we also need to find ourselves in this process, right, so that we can show up fully and completely in the relationship. So
when I was like making this slide, I was like hearing the Amanda Cook song, and she wrote the song like after her divorce, but it's called Intact, and in the song she goes, I'm worth the love, I'm worth the love, I'm worth it, I'm worth the time, I'm worth the touch, I'm worth the trust, I'm worth it. And I have like a few songs, I have like a playlist of songs where I'm like, I really feel like these are songs I sing to myself because just it encourages that belief and that like truth that I'm still walking out 9 years into marriage, that I'm worth love. I'm still learning to face rejection inside of my own marriage. Yes, and so like the more you can do before you get married, of course you're going to keep walking it out in relationships, but you're going to be facing rejection the rest of your life, even in marriage, and feeling rejected in your marriage. You're going to be facing, feeling unlovable and unworthy of love when you're in a relationship. And so those feelings aren't going to go away just because you found your person. If anything, they're going to get worked out even more, and you're going to refine and grow even more. And so the more you can do now, like, the better. But I just want to put this out there. John and I, we got married as babies, and we knew, we were like, we have so much growing up to do, but we're going to choose to do it together. So unlike the other couples that shared, I feel like we had nothing together. Nothing. Like, we were so young. We'd just come out of, like, really hard situations and seasons of life, and we're like, we're just going to grow up together. And so now when things get hard, it's like, well, we always said we were going to grow up together. So here we are, learning and growing up together. And so, yeah. All right, that's all we have.